What's going on, guys? This is John, and welcome to my Star Wars Net 77 show. This episode, I'm going to review Star Trek Into Darkness. Now, there are going to be spoilers in this review, so if you have not seen Star Trek Into Darkness yet, and you don't want to be spoiled by parts of the plot, then I just want to give you guys a warning before this review, before you continue watching. But I saw it last night. This is the 12th Star Trek movie that's come out. I do consider myself a big Star Trek fan. I've seen every episode of Star Trek on all the series, from the original series to the Star Trek Enterprise series. I've seen every episode at least twice. I've also seen the movies a number of times as well. And I do consider myself a fan of the original series, although my favorite series actually is Deep Space Nine. I also really like the Next Generation, TNG. But I appreciate the original series because it's really what started it all. And I know there's some diehard fans there that really like it as well. But J.J. Abrams, who has produced and directed the last movie and this movie as well, he's reboot the Star Trek series and the franchise. Now, I actually really liked Nemesis when it came out, and that was the last movie before this one that came a couple years ago, featuring the Next Gen cast. I actually really liked it. It flopped in theaters though, and it was during this time, Enterprise on Star Trek Enterprise, the series on TV was canceled, and Star Trek was kind of, I wouldn't say hurting, but it needed new life. Someone needed to come in and kind of reboot the franchise. I think J.J. Abrams has done a fantastic job doing that, and I'm really excited that J.J. Abrams is going to be spearheading the next Star Wars movies too, which is great. It's kind of weird to have that connection between Star Wars and Star Trek, but anyway, I felt that the last movie Star Trek that came out, I think in '09, was great, and this one is fantastic as well. In fact, I almost liked Into Darkness better than the last movie, which I absolutely loved the last movie. Now, one thing I thought J.J. Abrams was smart in doing was he's brought a lot more action into Star Trek. Now, don't get me wrong, Star Trek has had action in the past, but not to this extent. Star Trek before has been more exploration, following the Prime Directive, meeting new civilizations, stuff like that. Where the last movie and this movie, it almost has like a Star Wars feel to it. There's a lot more action involved, and I know a lot of the diehard Trekkies are kind of upset about that, and they think it's kind of going off from what Star Trek is all about. But I disagree. I think the action is a nice pace to it. He's also brought a love story with Uhura and Spock of all people, which I would have seen that coming. But he's kind of rebooted the spin-off. It's like a prequel to the original series, but he's made it in a way where it's going to be a different kind of story. Characters are going to be involved differently. I think the actors who play the characters really play them really well. The villain in Into Darkness is Khan. If you guys aren't familiar with Khan, he actually was in an episode in the original series, also was in Wrath of Khan, which is the second Star Trek movie that came out, and actually my favorite Star Trek movie to this point, although I would argue this one is getting up there. I have to see this one again, of course, but Wrath of Khan, there's a lot of parallels. If you've seen Wrath of Khan, there's a lot of parallels between Wrath of Khan and Into Darkness. And you'll see what I mean at the very end of the movie. There's a lot of parallels and symbolism between the two movies, which I think were subtle but fantastic. I felt that the action in the movie was a good pace. It wasn't too much. I really liked the fact that they developed the characters a little bit more. I can't. My wife really liked the movie as well. I took her to see it, and she felt it was really good too. And this is coming from someone who doesn't really care for Star Trek. So I think if you're a Star Trek fan, you'll like it. I think if you're not a Star Trek fan, I still think you'll enjoy it. There's parts of it. There's that love story, which isn't over the top. It's funny. There's some comedic parts in it too, which is funny. The special effects are amazing. I thought Khan did an incredible job with this movie, and I thought the villain was believable. And it's just one of those movies that it pulls on your heart. There's some parts of the movie where you're like almost in tears, and there's parts of the movie where you're excited and you laugh and you cry, and it kind of brings up all the emotions that you watch the movie, which I think a good movie should do. So if you guys haven't seen Into Darkness yet, I really highly recommend it. Out of 5 stars, I give it like a 4.5 out of 5. It's one of those really good movies. I guess the only thing I didn't like about Into Darkness was there is the scene with Klingons, and there's a scene where they're in kind of the Klingon space, and I felt that the Klingons should have had a bigger role in the movie, and you'll see what I mean when you watch it. I really like there's a cool scene where the Klingons are attacking, Spock and Kirk and all the crew, and that's really cool. And the Klingons actually look a lot different, which is interesting. But But anyway, with all aside, there's actually later on in the movie, I was kind of scratching my head. I'm like, why are the Klingons not attacking the Enterprise when they're in neutral space, whatever? So, or in their space rather. So I felt that could have been maybe, maybe it was a little bit unbelievable. It's the only thing bad I really saw about Into Darkness. But other than that, I felt the story was great. Right from the very beginning, there's action. So if you haven't seen, like I said before, if you haven't seen Into Darkness, I really recommend it. I really appreciate you guys' comments. Let me know what you guys thought about Into Darkness. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.